The chairman of the Primary Production Select Committee and realise that he has a wealth of knowledge. And I would like to just start by making the statement, Mr Chair, that if there's one reason why the opposition is over on that side of the House, it is because of their total failure in recognising the potential of agriculture in this country. And when we look at the 9 years that they wasted in government, you'll find that they concentrated on such things as microchipping dogs. And what did that do? That angered farmers. Then they pushed the right to roam. That angered farmers. They closed off trade access by having leaders that said stupid things. That also angered farmers. They did nothing for 9 long years, and that angered all of New Zealand. And, Mr Chair, that ended up in the outcome that the Labor government was tossed out. They were so preoccupied with social engineering, they didn't actually have time to do the main things of stimulating an economy. So during the time that the opposition will now observe the government build and prosper as far as this country is concerned, they will realise that they actually had agriculture on the back burner. They obstructed progress around water management, which we know is a key ingredient to growing this wonderful country's economy. They stymied any initiative whatsoever. When it came to the wool industry, they didn't go near it. They sat on their hands. They watched it shrink and wither. The meat industry they couldn't organise either, so they didn't go near that. And during the Labor Party's time in government, it was the greatest deforestation, Mr Chair, that we've ever seen, and that is something that will hang around the necks of that opposition for many a long year. So when we look at the challenges in front of the government around agriculture, it's very fitting that we have a very able agricultural minister in David Carter, one who is grounded in the farming sector, has a great knowledge of the economics and is highly educated out of Lincoln University and sees that tertiary education and the alignment of those aspects in the applied sciences is very important. And that is something that under the previous Labor government, now in opposition, they failed to really make it happen. So there is a lot of work to do, and that's why I had to articulate, Mr Chair, some of the problems around agriculture is because to rebuild the communities that thrive and contribute and help grow agriculture will be a demanding job, but one not beyond this government and not beyond the Minister of Agriculture. We've seen the rural schools communities decimated, we've seen the maternity services wiped out, and policies that we see coming from this government that supports agriculture, such as bonding the doctors, the nurses and the midwives, will actually do an enormous amount to actually attract and retain the quality people into agriculture that this government sees is necessary. Because unless we have the very best and brightest working in our primary industry sectors, we will not survive. We will not move ourselves forward to where we want to be. There's no doubt about it that agriculture, from the point of view of this national government led by John Key, along with the Māori Party and ACT, sees agriculture as the prime mover of this economy. So we will engage with the wool industry, and we see the Minister of Agriculture doing that at the moment to galvanise a relationship where it speaks with one voice. And that's very important, because unless you can actually get harmony, trust and such like things, you won't rebuild the wool industry back to where it needs to be. And on water, one of the first activities of the Agriculture Minister undertook was to have a meeting of water management interests in Canterbury and to start to move towards enshrining the Canterbury water management strategy in legislation so that we can get to a situation where we have a common view and a focus as a nation, a win-win situation. Again, full credit to the Minister of Agriculture. Around trade, I've got to pay tribute to Tim Grosser and his wisdom and ability to be able to work with the knowledge of what agriculture means to this country, because that minister saw how we lost so many of our markets, and it's just an absolute pleasure to be in a government that recognises agriculture as important.
The question is that both agriculture and forestry stand part of the schedules. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question now is that both biosecurity stand part of the schedule. Question is the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it. The question now is that vote foreign affairs and trade stand part of the schedule.
Chairman.